Okay.
Did you just gulp that entire thing?
No. I'll sip it.
And there's the intro.
This is K-12 Tech Talk. K-12 Tech Talk. The podcast by K-12 Techs for K-12 Techs. Real conversations, real arguments, and real banter on trending K-12 technology topics and issues.
Live from the somethingcool.com studios, this is the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. I am Josh. With me, as always, is Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hey.
And Chris has been running late, but Chris is here. Hello, Chris.
What up?
We're all back together. It's been a couple weeks since we've all seen each other's faces. How you guys been?
Missed you guys.
Did you?
Missed
Mark
your
looks
faces.
tired. I'm tired. I texted you guys an hour ago and said I was ready for bed.
Yeah, it's
and
like
let the record
6.
show it's 7:00 Central Time.
And you were serious.
I was dead serious. I actually fell asleep on the couch watching. I don't know what we were watching. The news maybe. So I guess now all summer school's over for everybody. Now, well, I guess tomorrow's the last day for Mark.
Last day for me is tomorrow.
Mark's last day of regular school. Your last day of
Oh,
summer
my
school.
bad.
Yeah.
Our summer school goes another week. Then we're off for summer and things start happening. I got notice this week that our Chromebooks will not be in until the middle of July, even though I ordered them in April.
Should have bought Lenovo.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, they're
I already
available
have
'cause
mine.
Nobody buys them.
I have mine and they are beautiful.
Yeah, they probably don't work. 20% of them don't work. Or they won't work by the end of the first year. We'll just say
You gotta
that.
take a little pressure off take one screw out, put some
Yeah,
pressure
you got to
relief in
take
there.
one screw out. You cannot hold it by the right front corner and walk down the hall because that puts pressure on the motherboard and desolders some of the joints and they don't work.
Gen
after
1,
that.
we're on like Gen 3 or something now.
Yeah.
for that model.
Mhm.
We can
what
see
a-
our numbers ticking up, so I can see our summer Chromebook deliveries are being configured as we speak.
Nice.
Oh, so you're getting some now?
Yeah. Well, we haven't had them delivered yet, but they're being configured
Gotcha.
by the vendor. So
Oh,
we're
they're
doing
white.
a full,
White glove them? Yeah.
full refresh this summer.
Oh wow, how many is that?
55,000.
I'm 55,001. So there. um, So what? Anything else going on? Any fun and exciting things in the world of K-12 technology? Good talk. This is going to be a quick episode.
Yeah.
No.
So let's get right into it. Chris, you have some new Extreme switches, right? And Extreme is one of our proud, I guess they're proud of us, sponsors.
Yeah, 1,000%. And they are going to be at Midwest Tech Talk. And I love talking about Midwest Tech Talk. That's coming up July 17th and 18th. There's a kickoff on the 16th. Tickets are still available. And side note, Extreme wanted me to plug Midwest Tech Talk. This is not just about me. Go to MidwestTechTalk.com for details and registration. And come and hang out with us. Dominic with Extreme will be there. You can hang out with Dominic at the Extreme booth. Purple swag.
Purple
Probably.
swag. I'm going to take one of Extreme's cups, one of their thermos cups, on vacation in the next month or so when I go on vacation, and let everyone see that I'm a proud Extreme Networks user. So
And
one
yeah,
of the
we got
things-
switches. Switches are in. We've talked about my network admin is retiring. I guess we're like 8 days away from that. End of the month. 2 Fridays away.
I feel like I'm your quasi network administrator now.
You are. I said the goal. I told the team I want him to leave feeling like everything's great, whether or not it actually is.
And it can burn down 10 minutes after he leaves.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And
Yeah,
congrats.
so far, so
to-
good. We're making it.
Yeah. Congrats to your guy for retiring too. That's
Yep.
awesome. One of the things that kind of hit the news this week was an article in the Washington Times, right? No, Washington Post. I'm sorry. Where did that link go? From Fairfax County School District. That's not the right article. They were doing Fairfax County schools. They were doing some fishing tests, and they sent out a fish
Nice.
that, I mean, everybody should be, right? We all can agree
Yep.
on that, right, Mark?
Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Everybody should be fishing their staff. But this fish, they were getting kind of roasted on Twitter, and I thought this would be a good topic here because I know we all have very strong opinions. Fairfax County Public Schools and Company Rewards have partnered to provide gift cards to our employees as a thank you for another successful school year, the email read. And you can imagine it asked them to go click on something or enter information. And it turned out to be a fish. So
Chris's laughter is the best part of the story.
You guys were talking about this, and I didn't really take it in. I didn't read that thing.
So let me grab another little drink of my bourbon here.
So good job on the fishing campaign.
Yeah, I imagine that click rate was high. So they were getting roasted. I saw a lot of people roasting them on Twitter about this is too far. They shouldn't do this. I can't say that I subscribe to that line of thinking.
So you support the use of that fishing campaign at that time,
Mark. My take on this is if you're going to say that the IT guys shouldn't do this because that's too far, do you have an ability to tell the bad guys that they shouldn't do that because it's too far? Like your people need to understand that is a real threat. That is the emails that want you that entice you to do something with urgency or a financial gain. That's how these things work.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Mark, I assume by the look on your face, you completely disagree with me.
I do. I think they've gone too far. I think it was unnecessary. Yes, it got. You're just chugging down a bourbon as we're talking.
No, it's a cherry. By the way, Luxardo cherries, if you are listening, you could sponsor me on this show by sending me a jar of Luxardo cherries every month. Just putting that out there. Back to you, Mark.
Do you?
Yeah, no, I
really think the guy at Luxardo's like he's been listening for months?
There's
waiting.
no S. Luxardo. There's no S.
You think
He
he's
won't
a
now.
K-12
You
tech guy?
mispronounce a name. Yeah, you never know. I'm big in the bourbon world. Continue, Mark.
The cherry guy's not listening, and I don't think anybody's listening at this point anymore.
Yeah, recent stats show that.
I go. What's the stuff called? Grenadine.
Yeah, no. Oh, here we go with the grenadine again.
I say, can I get a Diet Coke with grenadine?
Okay.
Yeah, Mark.
And I make a little motion. I make a little hand motion, like they're pouring it in the cup. Because a lot of waiters and waitresses don't know what you're talking about, so you got to make like a motion.
All right, so I think doing a fishing campaign is always a good thing. I think that there are better ways of going about it, and I think when you start toying with people's emotions, you should not be surprised if they respond in an emotional way.
I that's a fair statement,
Yep.
but I still don't. So
don't you believe that you could have sent something a little more tame that's still impactful? So like, oh my gosh, we did this, whatever. I don't have a good example in my head, and we got this click
this is
rate.
the best example,
right? But let's you're gonna pick one that's different, and okay, I'm making up numbers here, but we got 10% click rate. You could do your own math to say, well, my gosh, if they clicked on that, then for sure they're going to click on a thing that says the school's giving you money. Like, figure out a little multiplier.
Okay.
And you're going to come to your own conclusion of how bad you think your staff are with clicking on links.
So
without actually swimming in it.
I want to go neck deep, man. So, Mark, where's the line?
I mean, are they surprised they got roasted? They handed out the sticks and they started the fire, you know?
Oh, are W-2 emails too far, Mark? Click here to get your W-2 around tax time in the month of January.
No, I don't think that's too far. Because you don't have a teacher's like, whoopee, my W-2.
But they can file their taxes and get a return.
Sure, but you're toying with their emotions here. You're basically saying your organization loves and cares about you so much that we got you a gift card.
That's your first problem to believe.
Bam, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Is a email a fish about a failed package delivery too far?
I think that's okay.
No, I think it's fine. Because if you're getting a package delivery notification, you're like, I didn't order anything.
So your issue, let me make sure I understand this. Your issue is with the fact that the fish said it was the gift card was from the school.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so a fish that said click here to get your gift card from the king of Brunei, you wouldn't have a problem with.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Where
tell
is
you a
Brunei?
story. I'll tell you a comparison. When my first year teaching, I did not read the memo on safe mode drills or safety drills. And we did a drill, and there was a knock at my door. And again, I'm like fresh out of college. I didn't read the memo, and I went and I opened the door. And my principal held his hand out like he was like a finger gun and yelled, "Bang."
Oh,
And
that's
was
aggressive.
Yeah,
that was his way of-
a little extra.
That was his way of teaching that I didn't do it right. That I opened the door when I shouldn't have. Do you think that's too far?
Nah. I mean, if you would have had a gun with a blank in it and fired it, sure, that's too far. But a finger gun and going bang? Nah. That's not too far.
Wow. Josh, you're cruel.
I got political stuff. I'm going to hold it back. I was going to
Yeah.
talk about. Never mind.
No
Never mind.
politics.
I was just
No
remembering
politics.
where Mark's from, and it doesn't. Never mind.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that we should not talk politics on this podcast.
No, but really. Okay, so and Mark, before the episode, you and I kind of talked about this a little bit. I'm sure you can make the assumption that the IT director at Fairfax County Public Schools did not cherry pick that template, right? Like, I mean, I would assume that because there are services where you pick a category, and there's a possibility that message could be in a category, and it was just randomly drawn. Certain amount of people receive that email.
Yeah, it's possible. It's a very big district, and if you do a category, there's a huge number of people who are going to get each template.
Right.
So could be random. Could be a mistake.
Yeah. Now, it could also be that they went out of their way to find it. It's the end of the year. I'm going to drive my numbers up.
I mean, you did the thing. You got good data back, I'm sure. You know where you're...
I'm sure they all clicked it. Chris, our friend Jay, he tells the story. He sent out a fish one time about a stray dog in the parking lot. And he had a bunch of emails from people offering to take the dog home, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. And then it got out that it was a fake email, and people were mad at him. Yeah, I don't know. I think
We support all techs, whether it's in their good decisions and their bad decisions.
Well, all right. If you come away with one lesson from this, if you pick a template that is very emotionally jarring or going to get a very strong emotional response,
you're going to get a lot of clicks.
It's no longer about the phishing test. It's about the Washington Post article about you. It's about the union, the superintendent's apologizing. Like, I just think if you're going to do something that's going to detract from your mission, then I think you should think twice.
But is it?
I appreciate that they did it because I feel like I learned a lesson from them.
So then, Chris, would you pick that template?
I would not.
Okay. there
Not
we
go out
go.
of your way, but if that template was in a category and you didn't read all 65 emails in the category.
Well, a mistake's a mistake, Josh. But what you're saying is that that's okay to do.
I'm not saying it's okay to go actually pick.
Was there any response from tech department from school district on?
I don't know. There was,
or it was just kind of talking that
quote
this
from
is
the
what happened.
superintendent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
All right. Well, I think we can conclude this conversation with it's 2-1. Josh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See you guys next
And you
week.
shouldn't have. Josh? You sent the package thing one time. Is this really what this is about?
I've sent multiple filled package delivery fishes. Yeah. And I kind of see this in the same vein as that.
Mhm.
But to Mark's point, this did say the district was giving them a free gift card, which districts can't do.
Right.
So
The real talk is this is exactly a strategically planned.
and that's my point.
Like this is how it would play out. This would be the email.
Right. Yep, I agree. That's my point. All right. Chris, do you want to tell us about one of your special projects that you've been working on this week?
Well, I did too.
Okay.
And I did the thing that is the best practice thing to do is that you make several settings changes within short periods of time. Right? That's you get on a roll and you're like, I'm just gonna knock them all out.
While sending a phishing email out.
right. So I did Mark on K12 Tech Pro did this great thing write up, and then we made it to an article about how to apply some context awareness things for restricting Google services like Gmail, like Drive, restrict it down to the US if you want, to US, Canada, Mexico if you want, to put people into different groups. Yes, no, you can access everything across the world, wherever you're at in the world. Or restrict it down to the US. So I went through all those steps and I did that for my school district. Cool. Turn that bad boy on. Seems to be working well. You can look at some decent logs to see that stuff being blocked. Had a teacher that was on the border between the US and Canada, right there on the border, and kind of fun because her access appeared to be going off and on depending upon where her car was at, kind of thing.
Was she teaching summer school?
No, she wasn't. So again, I can make a decision to put her into the group so that she can be in Canada and access everything if I so choose. Cool. I also went through my the Google admin stuff that's not coming out for a while now, but the third-party apps for under 18. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of apps to approve, deny. I was telling you guys before we jumped on, I did that. Clicked apply on that bad boy as well. I kind of got on a roll with that, so I did.
You were feeling good, weren't you?
I was feeling really good.
I'm accomplishing things.
Yep. Then started seeing some tickets. Got a few text messages, some phone calls. So we have so there's a so you're approving for under 18, but you're also going through this list to approve for your faculty, staff, and everybody else as well.
Right.
So if you're not careful about that, you can start blocking some things for the over 18, which is what I did. So there was one third-party thing listed on there that I clicked block on, and several hundred whatever people use this thing. It was called iOS. So I shut off iPhone, iPad, all that access to Google stuff. So if you had the Gmail up on your phone, you couldn't check your email anymore.
I'm sure nobody uses that during the summer.
Yeah, not very many. It wasn't very many.
Yeah, no, terrible.
So I figured that out.
Nice job, Chris.
Turn that back on. It does require everyone to go into their settings and retype in their password.
Oh,
And they have to click like I give permission. No big deal.
Oh man!
But be careful, guys. And in the midst of all that too, so to go back to the international stuff, in both of those sections, there's places that say like this is the message, the error message that's going to be displayed, and you could even customize it.
Yeah.
But in the case of the third-party thing breaking, that custom message wasn't being displayed. It just gave this random admin policy something. So I was chasing around in circles for a little bit because I couldn't figure out exactly which of my things I had done was the culprit.
Wow.
Now, You have an iPhone. Did it not break mail access on your
Mine was
phone?
working and so you could. It was really breaking, when it was making you do 2-factor again.
Huh.
And it just so happened that my phone wasn't prompting me yet. But I could go into settings and see that it was going to prompt me, like in the iPhone, like in your iPhone settings, clicking on accounts, clicking on mail. I could see that it was wanting me to type in my Google password again, but it hadn't prompted me yet.
Interesting.
But everyone that we were talking to, they had gotten the 2-factor prompt. They'd put in their password, put in their 2-factor, and then they would just get this generic Google message saying that it wasn't going to let them on.
Way to go.
So lesson learned. Not too many settings at once. Try to test things out.
I just pay attention.
Okay. Pay attention.
But I think too, sometimes this is good for the cause. I have a lot of pride. I'm pretty puffed up.
Knocked you down a step
So
or two.
it's fine. It's good.
Okay.
So
Now
I
the
didn't
real
learn anything.
question-
I'm gonna do the same thing again next time. I'm the same person. If I'm being honest,
I
my
was
pride
just gonna
didn't change
ask.
through this.
Are you going to go in tomorrow? Since it's Friday, typically Fridays are read-only Fridays. You don't make big changes like this on Fridays. Are you going to go in and mess with third-party apps tomorrow?
I'm caught up. Like I'm ready.
Oh, are you?
I'm done.
So, okay, let's talk about that for a second then. Are you just adjusting for the under 18 crowd, or are you doing it for your faculty as well? Because that policy change really is only going to affect your under 18
Yes.
people, right?
Yeah, I'm letting faculty staff still do whatever. And then now, as under 18 goes to request or goes to use something, I get the request.
Yeah, it has to be verified, which is a great
for
way.
Starting out of the gate, I did not differentiate between. If I approved
Gotcha.
it, I approved it for both sets.
Yeah,
And then going forward, I'm going to make bigger choices
yeah, which is a
and
great way
get
to
more people involved.
It's a good way to capture those DPAs. To hold that over their head. It's not getting turned on until you have a DPA.
That thing does a good job too. You can see how many users are using those things. You can see
Right.
what the piddly. These are clearly third-party things that we should be blocking because there's 2 people using them. That kind of thing.
Right. Have you looked at that lately, Mark?
No, I'm
He's
going to
on-
wait till the last day.
Are you?
Yeah.
September 30th?
Yeah, I'm going to let Chris make all the mistakes. And then on the last day, I will not do that same thing.
You'll let him write an article on K12 Tech Pro about it so you can follow it.
Yeah.
It is good too. Someone talked about on Pro about you can download that list as a CSV or whatever. You can go
Yes,
in and make
I
both
mentioned
changes, and it's great.
So here's an interesting thing. So if you're saying don't make changes on a Friday, well, not that you're saying it. Many people say that. What
Would
day
I send
is
a
this?
fish? Would I send a fish out on Friday? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What day is Google setting the deadline? It's October 23rd, right?
I thought it was October 1st.
No, it was October 23rd. October
Uh-huh.
1st is a Sunday.
What's
October
what day is
23rd is a Monday.
Oh.
They're breaking their
Interesting.
stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting event.
It's fine.
It's fine. Chris, do you want to talk about Fortinet real quick?
Yeah, Fortinet, a proud sponsor of the K12 Tech Talk podcast. Fortinet has a really the sales guy there. He's got a cool name. It's Chris. You can email Chris at fortinetpodcast@fortinet.com. They got the FortiGate. They got the Forti products. Check them out for all your K12 cybersecurity needs.
Firewalls, VPNs, tokens, voice.
They got them tokens.
Yep. So earlier today, I sent you guys over a text message with a quote, and I wanted to get your take on it tonight during the podcast. So the quote goes, "You can defend." This is relating to cybersecurity. You can defend.
Mm-hmm.
You can prevent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You can't defend. You can't prevent. The only thing you can do is detect and respond. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I shut off iOS. I feel like that was pretty good. You want some defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been spending way too much money on things like firewalls and stuff. So I think your quote's right. Let's just stop trying to. You can't defend.
Mark, I don't know why you're so argumentative.
Like firewall.
I don't know.
Think about what those
fire
words
and
are.
Fire and schools don't go well together. So
Thank you,
Josh.
Is so aggressive tonight. I was gonna say I understand the quote to a degree, where so many of our products are built around the notification process of detecting incursions or events, and then you have to your job is to respond to them. Those devices aren't necessarily actively changing to defend or prevent those types of incursions. Maybe I'm totally off the mark here.
I think you're doing that. You're just trying to like argue everything tonight.
No, I seriously thought that.
No, I like the quote. So to say it again, it was, you can't defend, you can't protect, you can only detect and respond.
No, you can't defend, you can't prevent.
Sorry.
The only thing you can do is detect and respond.
So, I mean, I think detection and response is a defensive mechanism on its own, but I mean, I think you're right to a certain extent that,
but it's reactive.
Yes, yeah, it is reactive. But you're also, you're responding to an incident to minimize the damage. So I think that is a component of your defense. I think I try to look at cybersecurity defense as, a 50-50. It's the first half is defense, and the first half is making sure that you're able to detect and respond and defend yourself and put in good security measures and keep things patched. The other half, which plays right into this quote, is that if somebody has their sights set on you, there's nothing you can do. So yes, it is about detection and response and being able to respond appropriately. So I try to say that, half of our efforts should be on defense and half of our efforts should be on response, because if one of these major cyber criminal organizations has you in their sights, there's nothing you can do.
And when I look at that quote, I think of the word defend as like a soccer match where your defenders are actively taking countermeasures to defend against the offense from the other side. So if you look at that from a firewall standpoint, your firewall has a set of static rules that the rules are the rules, and they're going to prevent anything from coming through based on a rule set. That rule set won't typically change real time. I guess it can, though, if once you hit a threshold, a different rule kicks in. And that's where that's what I would call more defense, is that active type defense stance.
I didn't take you as a soccer player.
I don't. I just watched Ted Lasso.
It's been like a year or so ago. Had a lot of banter with my superintendent about getting a cybersecurity budget line. Because the banter is this: we have budget lines for buildings, for tech fees, for telco stuff, etc. But I'm like deciding between replacing smartboard or can I buy a new security camera, or can I afford this backup solution? And like, why is this any kind of consideration here? Can I refresh that teacher's machine, or do I need to renew this or whatever? So he did agree to a cybersecurity budget line, but then that banter was too, he said, like, no matter how big he makes that line, I'm always going to be wanting something else. Like, there's always going to be more that we can do. So then, like Mark said, you kind of pick your 50% to 50%, like where are you putting, like what buckets you putting stuff in. You can think that you have the best firewall, the best all that, but then if that goes down and your backup sucked, you really are hosed, and you should have put more money into your backups. In that regard, this quote is this circle thing. Like, yes, the answer is yes.
I like your idea of creating that permanent cyber budget line, because that takes it out of that kind of that revolving account of, if you have a bunch of smart boards die in a year, well, great, I've blown through my budget. It's April, but I know I've got a support renewal on a FortiGate firewall coming up. Can I still afford that? Where now, by that cybersecurity budget, those renewals or those purchases are kind of protected at that point because that budget is only tapped for those very specific items. I really like that idea, Chris.
Nice job, Chris.
Good job, Chris. Gold
You
star.
did a good idea tonight.
Okay.
So, all right, the topics that I brought tonight, you guys have like totally crushed.
No, this is a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's lively.
Lively. Speaking of lively, Chris, tell us about NTP.
NTP? I actually thought you would talk about them.
Oh, I can.
Talk about
David. David and Zach over at NTP. NTP offers all sorts of cybersecurity benefits and services. The big one is their SentinelOne offering and their managed SOC. If you are, and you don't have to be in Missouri to take part in this. I know there's districts that have contacted him because of this show outside of Missouri. Get a hold of David D. Wren at ntp-inc.com and at D. Wren, DWREN at ntp-inc.com. We'll put his email address in the show notes too. But he's more than willing to have a conversation with you about how they can help you, how they can be your 24/7 eyes on your network when you're out of the office, when you're on vacation, Christmas break. His SOC runs 24/7 and will keep an eye on your managed SentinelOne installation.
And your socks run a lot when you're playing soccer, right, Josh?
I don't wear socks. I have a cotton allergy. See, I'm quick, boys. Come on, you got to do better than that. What else? What else you guys got?
I'm ready for bed.
I was gonna say you don't look good, Mark.
I am very, very ready for the last day of school tomorrow. That's all I have to say.
I don't think your drama is going to end with the last day of school.
No, I've got some drama going on right now. It's not going to end.
It's okay, buddy.
For a while.
We do want to give a shout out to Provision Data Solutions. We haven't mentioned those guys in a while, but Ryan R. at provisionds.com. Their company has a strong focus on K-12. It's literally the core of their business.
That's
They
all
have
they
a lot
do.
of experience. What?
That's all they do.
That's literally
It's
all
K-12.
they do.
Yeah.
Is hang out with K-12. A lot of understanding for network needs, how to make your network more stable, more secure for students, teachers, staff, and community. Provision Data Solutions. Also going to be at Midwest Tech Talk.
So I think next week we're taking a break, right? But Mark, we haven't told Mark this yet. Mark, you're on vacation next week. We are taking a break.
Congratulations, Mark.
We're going to have a recorded interview with a sponsor that will be on next week, but we'll be back the week after, gearing up for Midwest Tech Talk and some more lively content. Any closing thoughts for tonight, guys? Any fishing recommendations? Any good?
Let's say
templates
something
you've
about
seen?
America, since it's 4th of July coming up.
4th of July,
America.
Yeah,
America.
but we have international listeners, Chris. We can't forget the Canadians, the Australians, the folks from Asia and Indonesia that listen.
My bad.
New Zealand. They don't.
We-
They have 4th of July on the calendar, but they don't celebrate America's independence.
If you think the U.S. is the greatest country in the world,
Oh,
drop
Lord,
us an
here we go.
email. K12 Tech Talk.
And we just lost all of
gmail.com.
our international listeners.
And we're lost.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
We were climbing on the charts a little bit, but do you think it's me that's making us drop? What do
I
you
think it's summer vacation.
We
Oh,
we
okay.
haven't dropped. We've stayed stable.
Oh, I didn't check this week, but
Yeah, no,
so
we're still where we are.
That speaks to all of our listeners. Thanks for listening. And that's something Chris tweeted earlier in the week. We have surpassed last year's total downloads, and last year we over doubled the year before. So that gives you an idea
Pretty cool.
of what our progression has been. And we are just barely halfway, not even halfway through the year yet, and we've already beat last year's downloads. So we appreciate you. Share us with your professional organizations. We appreciate our friends, our besties over at COSIN for sharing us out a couple different times this year and putting us in an email. Hopefully you'll see us in the new year, new calendar. Well, not really new calendar, new school year at maybe another super big conference or something. We'll see.
And we do
how
love
that plays.
hearing from you, so send us those listener emails. We enjoy unpacking those.
Chris, what's our email address?
K12techtalk@gmail.com.
And you can hit us up on k12techpro.com, the community there. And
For sure, hang out.
On random, we post on Reddit as well.
We love Reddit.
Any other closing thoughts for tonight, gentlemen? Mark is ready for bed.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yep. All right.
Holla.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
The views and opinions expressed on the K-12 Tech Talk podcast are the personal opinions of Josh, Chris, and Mark, and do not represent the views or opinions of our sponsors or other organizations that we're affiliated with. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.